The Johnstone Supply Company Cafferty Group presents VRV System Operation. This system is in 100% cooling mode. The refrigerant leaves the compressor as a superheated high-pressure vapor. Its first stop is the oil separator. The oil separator is a spiral device that uses centrifugal force to separate the oil from the refrigerant as it leaves the compressor. Then it returns the oil back to the compressor where it belongs. When the oil leaves the oil separator, it passes through a filter and then a solenoid valve. The solenoid valve is activated or opened when the system goes into oil recovery mode. Oil recovery mode is triggered by the system controller when the compressor runs a specific amount of time at lower frequencies, which is where the oil separator is the least effective. The oil then passes through a capillary tube to remove any liquid refrigerant that could be trapped in the oil so that it doesn't damage the compressor. As the refrigerant leaves the oil separator, it too passes through a filter or bullet strainer on its way to its first stop, which is a tube-in-tube heat exchanger or subcooling coil. From the tube-in-tube heat exchanger, the refrigerant travels to its first section of outdoor coil. Notice that this particular diagram has 3 four-way valves. Also notice that the outdoor unit heat exchanger is divided into 3 separate compartments. So in this type of system, the 4-way valves not only control the mode of operation, but they also control the capacity of the system by regulating the amount of refrigerant through the outdoor heat exchangers. So the system only uses the amount of outdoor heat exchanger needed. In this example, the system is in 100% cooling mode, so the 4-way valves direct the refrigerant to the outdoor heat exchanger where we will use 100%. You will notice the presence of several refrigerant filters in this system, making a clean refrigerant piping installation even more important. As the refrigerant passes through the outdoor heat exchanger, it is subcooled into a liquid. The smallest section of this heat exchanger, which is the bottom in this case, first passes through a heat sink to cool the inverter section of the control board. As the liquid refrigerant leaves the outdoor heat exchangers, it passes through electronic expansion valves. Since this system is in 100% cooling mode, all of these valves are pulsed wide open and not metering. The 2 larger sections of outdoor heat exchanger are piped through a solenoid valve and into a liquid receiver. The liquid refrigerant leaving the receiver then meets up with the refrigerant from the 3rd section of heat exchanger. It's all then directed indoors to be distributed to the indoor units. The liquid refrigerant travels from the outdoor unit to the indoors on the small liquid line. The line is connected directly to the branch selector box. The branch selector is available in either a single 1 indoor unit connected to 1 branch selector box or multi up to 12 indoor units connected to 1 branch selector. In this example, there is an individual branch selector box for each indoor unit. The liquid refrigerant travels through the branch selector box to the indoor units that are calling for cooling. As the liquid refrigerant enters the indoor coil, it travels through an electronic expansion valve which meters the refrigerant. As the metered refrigerant passes through the indoor heat exchanger, it absorbs heat from the space. The superheated low-pressure gas then travels back to the branch selector, where it is split and sent back to the outdoor unit on the suction line and the high-pressure line. As the refrigerant approaches the outdoor unit, please notice that the 4-way valve on the high-pressure line is positioned to route the refrigerant to be joined with the suction gas just ahead of the accumulator. The low-pressure gas then leaves the accumulator and travels back to the compressor to start this process over again. Here is an example of the same process through a multi-zone version of the branch selector box. You can see everything works exactly the same, except there is 1 selector box for multiple indoor units. Thank you for joining us on this journey through a VRV system. We hope that it was helpful. If you have any questions, please contact your local Johnstone Supply.